Good morning and welcome to your video lesson for today. Today we are talking about safety, and there are actually 3 parts to this. Today we'll be doing part 1, and we're talking about the rules and guidelines that you should expect with regards to your work and when it involves safety. Here we have a happy young person stocking shelves in a grocery store, and I'm guessing that that person learned some safety guidelines at their job. So all you need to do today is take some notes. And so what I need you to do is go into Google Classroom, please, and you will find something that looks like this. It says Safety Part 1 Rules and Guidelines. It'll be called Safety Part 1. And you just need to open it up, follow along, and take the notes. So here we go. First of all, what does that word employer mean? It's simple. That's the person I work for. Thought I'd start you off with an easy one. Perhaps you already knew that. So hop onto your assignment. Employer. The person I work for. Now, why is that word important? Because your employer has some important responsibilities when it comes to safety, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Next one, OSHA. OSHA is the part of the government that regulates safety. So if you hear someone say, oh, you better follow the OSHA guidelines on that, they mean it's rules from the government. It's actually technically occupational health, and you need to do what they say. So let me jump over to our notes. OSHA. Part of the government that regulates safety at your job. All right, now, important. Please listen, wake up, put down your snack. Come back to the computer. Employee responsibilities. You have to do 3 things when it comes to safety. Follow all of the safety rules. Use all available safety equipment that they give you. And report unsafe situations. Very important. So what do you need to do? Follow safety rules. Use safety equipment. And report unsafe situations. Remember, you can always pause these videos, so if I'm going too fast, relax and pause. Awesome. All right, so these are your responsibilities. What does your employer have to provide? Employers must provide a safe workplace, safety training, and safety equipment. So it's expected that they're doing their very best to provide you with those 3 things. So what was that? You remember? A safe workplace as much as possible. Safety training, so you learn what's expected. And safety equipment. Now, imagine you get safety training and you learn a bunch of things and then you immediately forget it. That's going to create a problem for you because remember, it's your responsibility to follow safety rules. Okay? If you are trained in what to do and you're given equipment to use for safety and you ignore it, there's a very good chance that you could get hurt. And if you do get hurt, they might not help you as much. So it's very important that you follow through on these responsibilities at work. All right, let's keep going. What is a hazard? A hazard is a fancy word for a danger at work. What's important here? Don't ignore hazards, okay? If you see something dangerous, either fix it or report it. If you spill something and the floor is wet, that's a hazard. You could slip and fall. So guess what? Mop it up. If you see a knife laying around where it shouldn't be, put it away. Okay? If you see a hazard that you can't fix, like maybe there's a broken wire and you should never touch that, then you need to report it. So let's hop to our notes. A hazard is a danger at work. And I do want you to type, you could even do it in all caps. Don't ignore them. So important. As your work coordinator, one of the most important things to me and to us is to keep you safe. We don't want to send you out to work and have you be in an unsafe situation. Because number one, we care about you. And number two, we're responsible for you. So we want you to go out and make good decisions. Don't ignore hazards. Now look at us go. Only 4 left. Let's keep cruising. Injuries on the job. So let's imagine that you do get hurt. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it can. Let's say you cut your finger and you need a couple stitches. That's happened before in our program. Here's what you need to do. If you're injured at work, tell the clinic that you were injured at work. Very important. Whoops. So, injuries on the job. Tell the clinic that you were injured at work. Now you might be thinking, why? Why do I have to tell them where I got hurt? Well, let's go to the next one. Workers' compensation. Maybe you've heard of this before. Workers' compensation means your employer pays the medical costs if you are injured at work. So you have to say, hey, I was injured at work, so that the right people pay for your medical care. I don't know if you guys know this, but going to the doctor is very expensive. Even getting that little stitch is hundreds of dollars. So it's very, very important that the right person pays for it. Oh, I did it again. So, workers' comp. Let's make sure we get it exactly right. Your employer pays medical costs if you are injured at work. Now, do you think your employer wants to pay medical costs if you're injured at work? No. So that's why, again, this is probably the most important thing we're learning today. You are responsible to follow safety rules, use safety equipment, and report unsafe situations so that you don't get hurt. All right, now we're getting into a couple of the rules that would apply to you, especially if you're a teenager. So if you're 18, you are allowed to drive a forklift, use a box crusher, use a meat slicer, and use a bakery machine. If you are 16 or 17, you really shouldn't be doing these things. Now you might think, oh, no big deal, but I've had a lot of students who maybe they work at Arby's. Arby's, everything goes through the meat slicer, so they really want people who are 18. Same with a deli, okay? Knowing these rules is important just because we want to make sure you're always safe and that your employer's following the guidelines. So, let's take some notes. You must be 18 to drive a forklift. Fun stuff. Cruising around in a forklift could be a blast, right guys? So just buckle up for when you're 18. How about use a box crusher? That's a big, huge machine that's used for recycling. Then we have the good old meat slicer. And finally, use a bakery machine. And our last item for today are a couple of guidelines if you're 16 or 17. So, first of all, if you're 16 or 17, you cannot do these things. Also, if you're 16 or 17, you can only work until 10 on school nights. You can work until 11 on weekends. So they want you to go home and go to bed so that you can focus on school. Because really, when you're 16 or 17, we want your highest priority to be getting your diploma. So you still need to put school at a higher priority than work. You're just a lucky duck because for you, if you're in the work program, work is part of school. So good for you. So let's finish our notes for the day. If you are 16 or 17, you can work until 10 on school nights. And you can work until 11 on weekends. All right, so make sure that you have completely filled this in on your personal assignment in Google Classroom. Remember to pause right here if you need to fill something in. And then the other thing we'd like you to do is start getting these things into your head because there will be an assessment on this. Remember, any questions, email us or leave a voicemail. It goes straight to our email and we can get back to you. And have a wonderful day.